Great. Okay. I guess we can start with the slides and what's looking when we relax. As what's looking, that's open intelligence, relaxing as what's looking, awareness, open intelligence. And also today in the newsletter we had what is absolutely reliable. Open intelligence is ultimately reliable. It's something we can rely on. We can count on open intelligence without fail. And how can we test this in our own direct experience? Because seeing that we have so many thoughts, emotions, experiences all day long, all night long, looking at what is the constant in all of that, something about us that is always present, stable, alert, open. And that's open intelligence. And so getting to know that about ourselves is knowing that there is something that we can rely on, because we cannot rely on having good emotions or good thoughts every moment of the day. It's impossible. We never know what we're thinking next, what gets triggered, or what circumstances, relationships. We all know how that goes, and then emotions go wild, or our thoughts go into story loops. Yeah. So what is absolutely reliable? That's what we get to know about ourselves here. We allow the natural ease of open intelligence to gradually permeate all of our daily activities. We rely on open intelligence at all times. It means like whether we are walking, moving around, lying down, working, playing, sitting, whatever we are doing, basically, we're taking short moments, recognizing open intelligence at the base of everything. This open intelligence, the stability of open intelligence that pervades our ordinary life. So it's not a special state, meaning it's not somewhere to get, or we only find it when we would meditate. These are some ideas, just seeing that it's actually present when even emotions are going wild in this intensity. It's exactly inseparable from our entire emotional and mental display. Maybe you want to continue here.
If we emphasize the description of the thank you. If we emphasize the description of the data, it is empowered to take over all of our energy and attention. If we allow data to flow on by, beneficial energy opens up, vast and powerful. Yeah, it's amazing to see how, like, when we become aware how open intelligence collapses into a single description and then can go into those loops that Kati mentioned. Say something comes up and we get annoyed at somebody. Probably does not happen to anybody here, but maybe you can remember a time long ago in your past when you got annoyed at somebody, and how that can then trigger so many thoughts and sensations in our body of like, it's always been like this. And then we get maybe a little more agitated because you remember other examples. Maybe they disappointed us before, or they said they do something and then didn't do it. And then we get into this entire like world, you could say, that then does take all our energy and attention, and everything else fades away completely. So in resting naturally as open intelligence, we simply allow all these data to flow on by without collapsing into them. It's like that space opens up vast and powerful. So we recognize that initially it's usually just in these glimpses, in these short moments, But the more we become accustomed to it, the more we also then detect this habit of the collapsing and can then, in the moment of collapsing, already relax. And then again, the space opens up. When short moments are repeated many times, the recognition becomes automatic. It becomes stable in itself. Any act of forcing the recognition of open intelligence is unnecessary. We had a question about that in the app the other day, like how to basically get the swiftest and um, most empowering way to practice into our daily life. Should we like reserve more time for special practice moments, or how does it work? And really, the way it works in this teaching, just really beautiful, is that we can practice anywhere, regardless of what we do. Like life is the cushion, so to speak, the meditation cushion. And just by recognizing throughout our day that open intelligence is inseparable from any aspect of life, we can then see that we don't need to create it, we don't need to make it happen. We see it's already present in short moments again and again, until that confidence that it is indeed always naturally present is like a pervasive force in our day, so that we don't even have to look anymore. We just know without even looking. We know deeply, like in our bones, so to speak. Then, if the recognition of open intelligence slips away, we simply repeat it again. Short moments, repeated many times, lead to confidence in open intelligence. Each moment of open intelligence subsumes our old way of thinking, feeling, sensing, and experiencing in a continuous expanse of clarity. I love how skillful Rinpoche is with these texts. Open intelligence subsumes our old way of thinking, feeling, sensing, and experiencing. And that means that it doesn't replace our ways of thinking, feeling, sensing, and experiencing with other thinking, feeling, sensing, and experiencing, but it is subsuming it all into this more comprehensive, vaster intelligence, into this open heartedness in which everything can be exactly as it is.
So we rest free and relaxed. We rest in the powers of great benefit. We let up open intelligence rest naturally, potent and free from the need to control the flow of data. By getting accustomed to this, our recognition of open intelligence becomes stabilized, able to remain steady. So we rest free and relaxed, and we don't really need to look for these kinds of descriptions. We just rest for short moments, and open intelligence, what's looking, rests naturally, and we are just seeing that we we don't need to control, manage, replace, or avoid data. The energy of open intelligence, it's the dynamic energy, and whatever we label like anxiety or anger, irritation are all energies of open intelligence. It's like when we look at it directly, we cannot really pinpoint and hold on to it. And and then we see, of course, our thoughts run in these story loops, and recognizing all of that as open intelligence, and then also choosing open intelligence in that moment rather than the emphasis on data. We see more that we can just rest in that essence, in that is always constant and naturally free. We don't need to be having certain thoughts and emotions to feel free. It's just naturally free. And lets data flow on by. So, and that's the familiarization. When we say gaining confidence, we're getting familiar with that way of using our mind, because initially we just got familiar with using our mind, of looking at the descriptions of data, trying to manage them, either avoiding or replacing it with better data, or indulging it, making a story and trying to figure things out. So when these kinds of strategies are less and less needed, they sort of feel less and less essential to feel well, then we get accustomed to something about us that is stable, steady, open, and free, rather than really engaged in the descriptions of data. And so that's the repetition of the short moments is essential, because it's not about the quality of a short moment, but more about remembering the quantity. So when we think a short moment needs to look a certain way, then we might get frustrated, and that's natural also, especially well, initially. While gaining confidence, we think, when I take short moments, something has to happen. And just not needing to look that something specific happens, just continuing taking these short moments when things are intense is a helpful suggestion, just to gain more confidence with open intelligence. It naturally comes about, and then these short moments grow longer, and that ease of being becomes more obvious. Yeah, so okay, I think we'll pause here for today. Nice to see everyone. So we have time for questions and also shares how it's going for you. I'd love to hear if we can share more on something.
I have a comment or question
Yes, please.
sharing. There's a tape that I've listened to so many times that Candace has done called Human Awareness. I don't know when it was done, but it's really powerful. And she begins it by asking how many people believe that love is everything, and she says, "Oh, that's great," because apparently everyone raised their hand. So one of the things that I don't question it, doubt it, but she said, since everything is love, it is beneficially intended. Everything, and it was another, no matter what it is entirely beneficial. So when she used the word intended, it brings up like something is intending for it to be beneficial. And it almost sounds like a person or something behind it. And so I wanted you guys to maybe elaborate on that wording, if you can.
I would usually, yeah, first of all, that's great. Thank you for asking that. And I remember Rinpoche saying one time she would like to call actually open intelligence love,
Yeah,
because that's, but then everyone would think, well, it's hard to really always feel like everything is love, because we have ideas about what love is. So that's why it's open intelligence. And then obviously instinctively we understand how that all is love. And the intended to benefit, it's naturally beneficial. And I think the main key here is your own experience rather than thinking about it. Because yeah, we could think about that open intelligence is naturally beneficial, but then then we could say there's so many things not good in the world, and about ourselves as well. We do things that we don't feel is beneficial. So how do we make sense of that? But in my experience, to continue to practice shows that when relying on open intelligence, I can make better choices. I can see that my way of talking and thinking and actions are, naturally useful, beneficial, and rather than being lost in some limitations, or like, for example, when there's anger, acting out on that. So these are very practical ways of seeing how open intelligence naturally is responsive, is intended. It's not something intend has an intention or something like that. It's simply naturally present, built in, built in. Benefit is built in to everyone. So as everything, so one can tap naturally into that. But it's present. Yeah. So that's more that. But then seeing it in your own experience and seeing the benefit of taking a short moment, that is what I saw in myself, far more valuable than thinking how is it all beneficial. Yeah. I don't know, Jochen, if you had something there more.
And I think it wouldn't, because I speak to people, with what's going on in the world and how much violence there is, and narcissism and everything, and if I'm going to be aware, I don't use that term loosely. If I'm going to be aware of what goes on in the world, and I'm doing all the time. Open intelligence comes up. It's wonderful. So how do you explain? How I'm going to use the word beneficial again because I can't think of another word. And how do you explain to people that going into a school and murdering? I mean, I have a clearer understanding of this than I did, before. But it was always a question. So how do you? And maybe it's not even necessary. But people say, they might ask, how could murdering a bunch of kids or blowing up a country or taking over or whatever it is, how can that be seen? And I'm asking you guys to elaborate on that. How can that be seen in a way that it's not right and wrong, good and bad, but how can that be seen in, because most
but this is
you know
really
what I'm
like,
saying?
yes, of course. And I think that's it's wrong, right? It's bad when we speak about murdering kids. So there's no way to
Well,
make
yeah,
a philosophical discussion about
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right? So that would be very confusing. That is confusing. That isn't the intention of the teaching at all. So it's good to see, but you're trying to figure out how is everything equal and even as open intelligence. That's also something that's in empowerment too. It goes into that, and usually empowerment too, people ask, well, how can be everything wholly positive and entirely beneficial when there's war or murder? Yeah. So it's never an extreme, and to put something in the description, like murder and these kinds of suffering into, oh, this is, yeah, this is whether right or not wrong. So it would that wouldn't be very that is not very beneficial even to do that. So take the teaching in that kind of way. So what is beneficial is in this moment you practice, and the suffering that is caused by murder, by these things we read or even experience or people around us, is deeply felt. Right? It's not like avoiding this deep suffering by saying everything is equal and even.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of deep suffering and feeling the world, or feeling friends, feeling oneself, feeling family, suffering. And in your own experience, there's, open intelligence is there, whether we are suffering or not. Yeah. There's an equalness and evenness in that there's an open intelligence energy is equal to suffering and no suffering, murder or no murder, but that doesn't make murder good or anything. But if you take it then to your daily experience, right, there's something somebody does. I think it's mainly understood when you are in your own experience and see that something that you feel is not right happens, and the other person but thinks it's completely right. So and here with the practice where you rest as open intelligence, you'll gain a deeper understanding of everything being open intelligence. And then at the end, also the murderer and everything that happens, but really not for no, well, that's not your point, I know that. But not to, but some might justify bad behavior by saying everything is equal and even and I can do whatever I want. Right? So that's taking an extreme on these understandings. And I know that is not naturally present in you. You have very instinctive sense of that, but I'm just saying it generally because that's what happens sometimes with these teachings, that people take it into an extreme and just make everything equal and even, or want to explain that also to others, or say, well, there is no bad and no right and wrong. You can see how that isn't beneficial. The teachings are meant to be beneficial, not not in this way. It all happens within you. I think the explaining to others, at one point I would just like not even, I don't even go there because that can't be explained. Never can that be explained. Even here, when we try to understand it, we all get a little bit, no, it doesn't work, right? Instinctively. Yeah. So when people go through the empowerment, and it already comes in empowerment too, but why does it come? It comes because in empowerment one, you see all the data and the effect emotions and thoughts have on your life, on other people. So, how anger, hatred, how jealousy, how that all can affect, right? And so that's looked at empowerment one. And then empowerment two, you see everything is the dynamic energy of open intelligence, and it's wholly beneficial. But then it gets a bit confusing because we're trying to think about that. But when we don't think about it and trust that it'll become more obvious in your experience, you know that all data are included as open intelligence as energy. That's all we need to know. That means nothing is wrong about ourselves. And when we have bad thoughts, we make ourselves wrong. So now we rest as open intelligence rather than going into the story of making ourselves wrong or others, which isn't so easy. So that'll empower the next empowerments, take that then further into a direct experience. Okay, now I went a bit further than maybe you, but yeah, don't explain that to people. It will never help. Never.
Yeah, I've gotten to a point with even with health, why should I eat? Why should I eat better food? Make it your own journey. If that's what you don't want to do, that's cool with. But if you're asking me, and I was still a doctor, but not practicing, if you're asking me for my opinion,
Yeah.
then, about eating right or something of that nature, then I'm willing to tell you what I think, and then you'll decide
Yeah.
what you want to do on the next step you take.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always been with that. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well, that reminds me of a question I had when we were in India to Rinpoche, because I was trying to figure out the equalness of and evenness of everything. And I said to her, I said, when everything is equal and even, why do I have to be careful what I eat or drink and get sick? And she said, well, everything is equal and even, but take care of your body and don't eat and drink things that make you sick. So then how to figure that one out, right? So that was my direct introduction to the equalness and evenness and to the clarity and not to have any extremes. I go back to the empowerment 9 even. You go through the entire process to the instinctive recognition of open intelligence and the equalness and evenness of everything. And then it says, and take good care of your body, dental appointments, this and this. So it like puts all the practicalities back in. So there's no extreme.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, but it's a powerful topic, so I
Yeah.
and appreciate you bringing it up. Good. Yes. Yes, Bentley.
Hello.
Hello there.
First of all, I want to say, for whatever reason, as soon as I found this teaching, I kind of automatically gravitated to it. Um,
Mm,
and I was always under the practice of meditation, and it was supposed to be a long time, at least like the shortest, maybe 15 minutes, and the longest, maybe an hour or two. So, but that's not really my question. My question is, how does the open awareness relate to like everyday situations? Like, so I've always been under the impression that open intelligence or God or whatever you want to call it is supposed to be the source of everything that I need to live here in this world. And I haven't always seen that come into fruition unless I was working. And I don't know if I want to prove that, or I just feel like that's the way it should be,
mm,
where I'm supposed to be supplied with whatever I need. Does open intelligence give any information on that, or am I supposed to just accept things as they are and whatever happens, happens?
mm.
If
Yes,
that's
thank
clear.
you. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear, very clear. Yeah, thank you. I'll share. Maybe Jochen wants to. Yeah, I think. Well, in the teachings, uh, yeah, how to start, and because I had the same questions as well, and I found it very. It's like this question really got more and more responded to in the practice. And it's great that you naturally gravitated towards the teachings, because it makes like any meditation really simple. Because I also I actually enjoyed meditating, and I'd still enjoy it, but it's very different now after knowing the teachings. Um, and also I had, when we sometimes read things that all giving, the wish fulfilling gem, there are texts on these expressions of open intelligence, right? Or however we call it in all other wisdom traditions. Mm. But what felt very helpful to me in my own experience was first to understand that everything is, that open intelligence is the source of everything. There can't be anything without open intelligence. So that doesn't yet reveal if open intelligence will provide all the best for myself, but it does reveal that it's something that I can rely on. That's the first step. And then then I recognized and explored the experience of that when I rest as open intelligence, I always wanted to be free. I always wanted to find a well-being and find peace or something. At least I could recognize with gaining confidence that I felt complete, that there was nothing, and that doesn't negate actually needing basic needs, right? Like having money, like needing to take care of food and rent and all of that. So it was first of all seeing that there's an all-giving open intelligence that I don't need to try to invest trying to feel better. So that was naturally complete, which was yeah, first of all, and that I felt like, wow, I don't have to actually travel or get away from things to feel free or feel good. That was already then a very powerful and fulfilling insight. But then it comes further, what to do when I feel like, okay, actually this open intelligence gives me all the money and everything that all the health, and what if I feel like, oh, well, now I need to take care of this financially, and I need to take care of these bills, and it can feel tensed, and it can. So I think what always was the priority was to practice, and whether and not go into any extremes that, okay, if I just practice, everything will be taken care of, the money will come from the sky. But like I'll be open for it, but it's not like saying, okay, I can only get money if I work. But at the same time, it would be such an extreme to say, I'll just like rest as open intelligence and then everything is provided, even though resting as that in that moment, even if the bank account looks not so nice, then we see that we are free and okay just in this moment. But that doesn't mean that we not like find a next job or something. So it's almost not, it's not this and in that, but it's both, right? It's inseparable.
One more quick question.
Yes.
Don't take it the wrong way. But what if people decide they don't want to be here anymore? Is that still open awareness?
Not want to be here. Oh, you mean like this life?
Yeah,
Hmm. Well,
that's
everyone is open awareness, open intelligence.
I don't mean it like in a
Mhm.
suicidal way or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, can we make the decision as individuals to not want to be on this plane anymore?
Well, the discussion about that would be completely open, like without any like specific view. Each of us would maybe have different views on that, which
Okay,
would be okay. So it's not about having a specific view on something, but both views are open intelligence.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yes, Paul.
There you go. Along the same lines of Bentley's question, uh, is the open intelligence that we are able to uh, experience other planes, do this, do that. I'm kind of wrestling with the Vedanta teachings. I've been involved with that for a number of months. Found it very enlightening, bringing me to a new place of understanding. But when I look at the simplicity of resting, end of story, rest, rest, rest as open intelligence. It's like all the charts and all the teachings and all the Sanskrit and all of that. It's like extraneous. It's unnecessary now. But there is a view that it's still necessary for an individual to go through that lengthy process to understand the ignorance that's extant and be liberated from the ignorance and brought to an understanding that we are awareness, open intelligence. And the way I'm processing it is, well, for some, that might be the path that's critical. For others, myself at this point, I'm done with all of that, and I'm simply going to rest as open awareness. It's so much cleaner and simpler. I don't know if you have thoughts about that whole world, but there it is.
Maybe I'll share a bit there. It's beautiful to hear your confidence in the practice, Paul. That's really beautiful. I remember in one of the talks, the timeless awareness talks that Rinpoche gave in India, took similar quite because of course in India you get people from these backgrounds, right? That have like maybe even years or living in ashrams and practicing very elaborate teachings and practices and I remember her saying a few times, you know, if that's what we make it to be, then that's what it will be like for us. Like if we think that's necessary, then it's necessary. But for those who really can get the simplicity and the completeness of the simplicity of like resting as open intelligence directly, it undoes everything else. Like there is no need for anything else. Now that said, also that in my experience of doing this for 20 years is open-ended. There is no end to this. Like in my experience, the awakening, if you want to call it that, like the initial recognition is I remember that vividly the first time that I saw, oh wow, this is what they've been talking about. But then the integration of that, like really, you mentioned liberation, to really be free as a human being walking around on this plane or maybe other planes or who knows who knows where we may be roaming around. Um, that is a process, in my experience, of integration. It isn't something that just happens once and then we're liberated from all the dynamics that have been playing out for decades. But even while it's integrated, we're always free in that. We're completely free. Like we're never open intelligence isn't tied to anything or defined by anything. And yet, in our experience as humans, it feels like a process of increasing freedom, right? And so even though we have the short moments practice to bring it back to what we do, we also have the 12 empowerments because it helps to actually look at what is going on a human experience level in our day to day, like which button gets pushed when I talk to this person over there. I understand that I'm free and I can practice maybe mostly sometimes when I'm with this person, but actually I'd still rather not see them ever again. Like if I could choose. So to better understand what it is that happens in us, the dynamic that has been playing out for a long time, and to like embed the practice of short moments very skillfully so that we can specifically free up that dynamic, that relationship, is a very powerful experience. As then we can see, it's not even a philosophical question or like trying to understand how both can be true at the same time. Open intelligence is timelessly free, and in our direct experience, that freedom grows and grows and grows. And short moments is always at the basis. Like I've been doing this for 20 years. I've received so many other teachings after the 12 empowerments from Rinpoche, and I'm grateful for each and every one because it all makes the process deeper, more fun, and all kinds of other nice attributes. So, whether it's I don't know the specific teachings you've been referring to, in short moments, it's the 12 empowerments as one of the tools, you could say, or one of the teachings that can deepen this practice and the direct recognition, um, while practicing short moments as well. So it's not really opposing, it's more as a support for it to see more clearly. Or some people might see a therapist at times, when specific things come up in their life. And but then through the process of short moments and the 12 empowerments, everything that's being discussed there with the therapist, just as an example, can also be integrated. So it's just a useful, you could say, mirror to see, oh, this is what's actually playing out in my experience. And now I can apply the practice more specifically. I think sometimes what happens is it's almost like using the practice a bit as an antidote. Like, then I don't have to deal with that stuff because I can just rest in timeless freedom. And with the empowerments, it's more like really looking at all the stuff from the perspective of open intelligence so that it's no longer running like even under the hood, so to speak. And then that ease of being can really unfold specifically in the relationship both with ourselves, with all the things we maybe still wrestle with, and also in the relationship with other people. So the two go together. There is timeless freedom, and we're growing more and more into it.
Very good. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Noel, yes. Oh, you're muted there. Wait. We can't hear you for now. Yes, now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
I just wanted to, I'm very grateful to be here. I just wanted to say thank you for just everything that everyone said, but specifically it was just said about integrating and short moments. I found that to be true in my everyday life because there were things that when I was in point of view, and I was very, how shall I put it, when I was just very concentrated on an idea or a concept of how I thought about a situation or a relationship, that I couldn't really, I couldn't understand what was happening. So if I was in a strained circumstance, like say it was a relationship, and I couldn't seem to communicate well with a person, or we're having difficulty, sometimes I would get stuck in that dynamic. But I found that by resting and by doing just like allowing and not trying to change things within myself and just kind of being more curious and just letting it be and taking that short moment, that without thinking about it, clarity would come on how to talk to a person or understanding more of where that person was coming from. It's like I had compassion for myself and then I had compassion for that person, and I kind of saw the situation more clearly. It was like, oh, they're feeling hurt, and I can understand that. I could see why they misunderstood me, or I said this, or and it was just so much more open, so much more. It was like instead of being hurt and taking it personal, I was able to, instead of like being in the valley, I could come up onto the mountain and I could see, oh, I don't need to take it personal. This was just a misunderstanding, and things were just kind of, I don't, for lack of how to explain it, I just understood. And I understood in a way that made me feel so joyful. And I had like freedom about it. And I was like, oh, wow, and it just freed me up. And I knew that it was short moments. It wasn't anything that I could get in my head and try to figure out, or get on the phone and complain to somebody and, and try to hash it out. Like that never worked. But short moments, it's a simple practice, but the results are profound. Like just in day to day relating, even in decisions like with my business, just to get excited about an idea, I feel that is from resting in short moments, where instead of trying to like figure out things in my head and sit on a piece of paper and just, instead of being fear-based, I can be more joyful. Instead of being anxious, I can be more relaxed. And so for me, it's very simple, but it's just so profound, because I couldn't think myself out of certain circumstances. I couldn't do it, but the idea or the understanding or the clarity would just comes. And it's not that I'm doing it. It's the short moments is giving me that clarity and that perspective that I'm actually not in my head. I'm actually in open intelligence, that's the best way I could say it. So I'm so, as you can tell, excited about it.
It's great. It's so beautiful.
Because
Thank
it's
you
the
for
way to live.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. And how are the empowerments going for you right now?
It's good. I need to finish too, but
Mm.
I've been reading a lot of The Rest is Best,
Yeah.
from Rinpoche, and
Yeah.
I love it. And of course, I listen to a lot of the talks, but I have been kind of slowly. I have been busy with work, so I've just kind of doing what I just kind of letting it flow. I'm not really trying to be too structured, but I do enjoy it. I want to finish the second empowerment. I need to send you
Mm.
I need to send you my responses.
That's perfect. It's perfect. Any pace. Yeah.
Okay.
It's great. Yes. And The Rest is Best is a great book. Yeah, great.
Yes, it's very good.
Well, thank you for sharing. Very powerful.
Yes.
Mm, thank you.
One question, if I can.
Yes.
So, what is the process for starting the 12 empowerments? I mean, I've been reading like different books from, the website, and I think is it that I have to schedule a private call, and then go into the 12 steps? Or
Yes.
it,
Yes,
okay,
we suggest that to do a private call and then talk about it
okay,
specifically for yourself. Yes.
okay.
And then we also have an introduction training that we could maybe put the link here, right? For those who, I mean, maybe many have done it, but it has a similar structure to the 12 empowerments. And so it has a text that evokes, and then the questions, and that's what the 12 empowerments are. Talk more about it on the one-to-one, but the introduction we sometimes share here on this meetup, and then just go through it together as well. Maybe we could put it here in the chat. I'll paste it in there. But one-to-one to your question, that would be the way. Mhm. And yeah,
I have a question.
yes, Natalie.
It's about practice. So I I take short moments during the day. I can relax, but often at night, everything is getting very busy, and there are impressions. And I'm not sleeping well actually these nights. And it happened to me in the past already for long periods of time. But so I relax. It's not that I am anxious or that I am trying to sort out things, but so I try to look at the experiencer, and but it's more difficult even when the eyes are closed for me. So do you have a suggestion? I relax in the sensations and in the body sensation. It is like a whirlpool, kind of. It's very strong.
Yeah.
And so it is as if, I was challenged there, because in the daytime is more, I mean, it's as if it's a fairy tale, but in the daytime is more relaxed. And even though sometimes there are datas which are so difficult, but I can relax in worries, in whatever. But in the night, sometimes it's quite annoying, I would say.
Yeah, that's really true. Yes, the night times are really the ones who might wake up at night, which I have good experience with. Then the data, and I think we could explain it chemically and so on, but it doesn't matter. We have an opportunity to actually practice with really big intensity. Everything seems worse and more intense. And even sometimes doesn't feel like relaxing works well. But just to do like in daytime, taking these short moments, but actually listening to talks, or if one wants to read, doing these kinds of practices are probably easier than taking short moments in those kinds of intensity, or having the support of also breathing. Well, we all breathe, but in certain ways, breathing while we're taking short moments, obviously. Just it's like supportive for relaxing, But listening to talk sometimes was helpful, just listening rather than trying to relax or trying to take short moments. But in the end, like, it was a good practice ground, even if it doesn't feel like the results are initially very helpful. But I see in my nights they are much better than they've been. So I can see that that the practice, good, in each night is can be different when waking. Yeah, doesn't mean that I fall asleep quickly, whether I practice or not, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was helpful, but yeah, it's
Thank you.
it really can sometimes just not look like one is practicing, which is again a powerful way to gain confidence in open intelligence, when things really don't really look like the practice is working.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Guido, was that? No. Yeah, I thought maybe you were putting your hand up. No. Great. Anyone else? Just before I wanted to put the introduction training here. Okay. Maybe we can have some. When you click, there's a link, and then it goes into that module with the text, and we can have some parts of that next week. Go through it together. I mean, not all. Everyone who didn't do it yet can do it here, but then we can go through some parts of the texts and questions.
Can I ask, is that introduction training the one on the app, or is that different?
Yes, it's in that, it's the same one. I think you might have it. Yeah.
In the app, yeah.
In the app there. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not the 5 videos in the app.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not that one. That's a
All
different
right, I
one.
don't think I have it then.
Okay,
No.
so then you can,
Okay.
yeah, it will appear though in your app.
App. Okay. All right, thank you.
Once you have signed up there, it will appear.
Thanks.
I think that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's good. We'll do that next week then. And thank you all for joining, for sharing and asking. And see you all next week again.